Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Here on the august Judiciary Committee, we are charged with vindicating the constitutional rights of our fellow Americans, and our Pledge of Allegiance is a national symbol of pride and unity. And it was a great honor to be able to invite one of my constituents this morning to offer the Pledge of Allegiance. And so my amendment gives the committee the opportunity to begin each of its meetings with the Pledge of Allegiance. It gives our members the ability to invite inspirational constituents to be able to share and lead in the Pledge of Allegiance. I offered this amendment to the judiciary rules 2 years ago, and it was defeated, and I'm very optimistic that we'll have a different outcome today. That's the amendment, Mr. Chairman.
So I'd like to offer an amendment to the amendment, adding in the second paragraph where the chair may designate an individual to lead the Pledge of Allegiance, to add the following language. Provided, however, the pledge shall not be led by an individual who supported an insurrection against the government of the United States in any way. Because I think if we adopt this amendment, then we will be truthful in representing that stating this pledge is an affirmation of your defense of democracy and the Constitution. It's hard to take that claim seriously if, in fact, an individual who in any way supported an insurrection against the government of the United States is allowed to lead the pledge. So I would ask Mr. Gaetz to accept this friendly amendment, and I look forward to supporting it.
Would the gentleman yield for
I first ask
question?
Mr. Gaetz if he'll support the amendment, to make sure that someone who led an insurrection against the United States doesn't make a mockery of the Pledge of Allegiance and stand before this committee with their hand over their heart claiming to support the Constitution.
Mr. Cicilline, my concern would be if your definition of an insurrection is objecting to electors, then there would be many Democrats on the committee that wouldn't be eligible to lead the pledge, since so many
That's not my definition of an insurrection.
The last Republican president to get sworn in absent Democrat objectors was George Herbert Walker Bush.
Reclaiming my time, Mr. Gaetz, I will allow the chairman to determine whether or not someone has participated in insurrection in the United States. I think this language is important.
Would the gentleman further yield?
I'm asking Mr. Gaetz, will you now accept the amendment?
Well, I'm concerned that you may be disqualifying too many of your own members, Mr. Cicilline.
I'm not concerned about that at all. Then agree to the amendment. I'm talking about elected officials who swear an oath to the Constitution of the United States, who in any way participated, supported, facilitated, encouraged the insurrection against the government of the United States. That's not too hard a standard. And if you are not prepared to agree that before you have the honor of leading the Pledge of Allegiance before this committee, at a bare minimum, you've demonstrated a commitment to protecting and securing our democracy, I can't support it. So, Mr. Gaetz, I know as a lover of the Constitution, you welcome this amendment.
A dear lover of it. Mr. Cicilline, you've described the amendment in two different terms. The words have changed. Facilitate wasn't in your original description. It was in the second one. So if you'd like to write out your amendment pursuant to the order of the committee, we can all take a look at it.
I have it writing right here.
Hey, Sergeant, thank you so much for your service. That gentleman right there represents the best of us all. And the fact that we're having a political conversation about this is actually wrong. The only thing that we want to do is recognize the best, those brave men and women that are willing to give their lives and a sacrifice for us to be able to convene the day in a room like this. I am one of those people. I served in combat. I'm a West Point graduate. I am the kind of person, like that gentleman sitting right there, that's willing to die for this country. For us to sit here together and offer just a little bit of homage to those that are willing to do that, I think it's not nothing we shouldn't be doing. It's actually necessary. You see, that flag represents the deaths of thousands of men and women. 14 of them actually my West Point classmates. And every day that I get up, I look at that flag and I thank God that we are here. So the fact that we get to sit here together and have this conversation based on the sacrifice of that flag and the gentleman that came here and said today should speak volumes to how we should conduct ourselves moving forward in the future. Quite frankly, you are correct, sir. We should be saying the pledge every single day, every single morning, and every single committee. Because when I was in elementary school, that's what I did. And I worked my butt off to be sitting here right now in this room, and the least we can do is to pay homage to the sacrifice of those that have come before us to say, you know what, Democrat or Republican, we are in this together. That flag is the one thing that unites us. Let's just take 30 seconds to put all of our differences aside and say, we can agree that this country is wonderful, this country has done outstanding things, and that brave men and women were willing to die for it. And that's what sets us apart from every other country in the entire world. Every generation stands up to die and fight for that flag. The least we can do is say the Pledge of Allegiance. I yield back.